Hello, once again. Thank you so much for joining us with a conversation with the McGhees. Well, I hope you've been enjoying it for the last 4 months. We've been trying to bring creative and different things, but we're going to do like Hollywood. Our production crew is going to close down for a few weeks, all right? And what we're going to do, we're going to show you some of the highlights, some of the more popular conversations that we've had during these past 4 to 5 months. And then when we come back in the fall, we will have some new shows for you. Gotta get some new guests, some new people, and so we're so excited, and I appreciate you tuning in every day at 6 o'clock, or rather every Sunday at 6 o'clock. So on today, we're gonna start showing you some of the highlights, some of our best shows from a conversation with the McGhees. Let's see this one now. Hi, thank you so much for joining us today on a conversation with the McGhees. Today we have more of a serious subject matter that we wanted to have a conversation about. We know this past weekend was full of havoc, full of violence, full of murder, full of death, full of brutality, and we just wanted to come together to talk. I've invited some young black men to come today to have a discussion with me about the question, are black men a target for racism? And so today we put down all titles, we put down all positions, we put down careers, we put down our entrepreneurship, because the truth is that none of that matters anyway. So I'm going to have my guests to introduce themselves. We're going to start from my far left, and I'll have him, and then we'll go all the way across.
Hello, my name is Daryl. I'm a black man targeted for racism.
My name is Willis. I'm a black man targeted for racism.
My name is Ray, and I am a black man targeted for racism.
My name is Brandon, and I'm a black man targeted for racism.
My name is Timothy McGhee, and I'm a black man targeted for racism. And so upon preparing for this particular conversation with these black men, I thought about something, and I thought about the word acceptance. Acceptance is the key to progression in life, be it negative or be it positive. Once you accept something, right or wrong, you no longer have to try to worry about it or try to figure it out. You can just deal with it is and make the best out of it. So the question was, are black men a target for racism? Obviously, the answer is yes. And so on today, I've invited these black men because I want all of us to be able to speak our heart, to speak what we felt from a spiritual perspective. Last Sunday was Pentecost Sunday, and it was the day that we celebrate the outpour of the Holy Spirit. But then this particular year, it was a very violent Sunday. It was a very disruptive Sunday. It was something that so many people had never experienced personally. Now, I finally got a haircut. And some of the gray is washed out. But out of all of my years, I have never in my life, I've been in Chicago all my life. I was raised on 78th and Drexel, 7818 South Drexel. I have never not only seen this type of violence, but been in the midst of it. This was so crazy, and I'm gonna let my gentleman speak, that it was happening and I didn't even know that I was in the midst of it. I was driving down 95th Street. I was driving down 95th Street on my way home. And so, you know, me, I'm just thinking that, you know, people are glad to be out. I mean, we only been locked up in the house for 10 weeks. You know, I'm thinking everybody glad to be out and nobody's obeying the physical distancing. And so I'm just driving. And so all of a sudden cars just start swerving past me. I'm talking about on the sidewalk. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You know, this, that, and the other. Then I looked over to my left and I saw people jumping out of cars, going into a Sprint store. I mean, I'm literally like 10 feet away from this, you know, and that really kind of freaked me out because, you know, we hear so much on the news and we see so many movies, you know, but we never actually been in the midst of it, you know, and it was really a catastrophic day for America, for Chicago. So I invited these black men. I wanted to know what you felt about it, what was your experience, you know, about it, and let's just have a conversation. Let's start with Daryl.
Oh, yes, and first I want to just start off by saying the question about racism. I think everyone is a target, but I believe black men are more so a target. We get it more frequent than any other race or gender. So I just want to go on record and say that. In terms of the rioting and the violence, you know, you're right. It makes you take pause and it makes you scared, but not fearful. You're just scared that this is reality, that, man, it affects me. And I live closer to the Munster, Indiana area, and I was driving to go pick up something, and everything was just shut down, the barricades all over, the grocery stores, the pharmacy, boarded up. I'm like, wow, what is happening? I didn't know at the time until I think we got a text from someone to say, hey, be cautious of where you're going. So you feel saddened, you feel scared, you feel saddened, because then you pause to think, is there another way besides violence to try to speak out and protest? But then you do understand why. Because of everything that's always happened to us as a race, and especially to black men, you kind of sympathize and understand. So you get a bunch of emotions going around. So it just was an array of emotions for me.
Willis?
Well, my experience with racism is real personal. I was born in the South. Our town, small towns, very racist. I mean, we were definitely separated. We couldn't go in certain stores. We couldn't go in certain areas. So it's really personal to me because I was raised up in that. You know, we went to only black school, and we couldn't. It was actually a track. We couldn't cross that. And that track, we couldn't go in their area. And we saw they had everything that looked so good, and our little stuff was all run down and everything. And they looked at us as if, well, you ought to be glad you got something. You know, so I've experienced some things and there as well as here. It's a lot I can say, but we'll just go around. So it's personal to me, and I have my challenges dealing with it. And to be honest, I have my challenges when it comes to, I don't know if I should say this, but loving white people.
You can be honest.
Well, all right.
Okay.
You can be honest. We'll get back to that. Ray.
I too got caught in the middle of the rioting when it's literally when it first started. Was on my way back from Evanston from visiting my mom, and this fool decided to drive through the downtown area. How about it? La la la. I'm, just happy. Just hey, let me take a scenic route. Man, when I seen people running out of the Louis store, and when I seen a Verizon gate being pushed, I said, man, people really get strong when they want something that bad.
But there's a lot of anger.
There's a lot, exactly.
Anger and rage create
A lot of anger
strength.
and rage. A lot of anger and rage. And it's funny. You tell yourself, as a God-fearing man, you tell yourself, you're battling two people. You're looking at both shoulders. And one shoulder is like, get out the car, man. Not to get something, but to express what it is that they're expressing, what you're feeling. But the other shoulder is like, that's not you. There's another way to express by talking to someone. Right now, social media, like we're doing right now, is a strong, outlet to reach people, to try to talk to the masses. But again, when people are angry, how much can you really say?
Yeah.
And you feel that anger at the same time because you can relate, because you've, in your own right, have experienced some racism.
And that's what I had said to myself, that you wonder, is there a better way?
Exactly.
But I can sympathize and I can understand
Right.
what they're going through.
You better believe it. You better believe it. And you're sitting there like, I appreciate you expressing my anger also, but
Right.
my bigger picture is I'm alone in my car right now. My wife's waiting on me. I got my mom that I just left. She's expecting me to get home to my wife so I can call and tell I made it, because of course I know now she's watching on the news that the city is burning down and whatnot. So you think about the other people that aren't around you that you got to get to. But man, you best believe that I want to, because you see the eagerness in the people that are waiting to attack and react on the people that are expressing their anger, and you sitting there like you just looking for the opportunity to take advantage of your power.
But you know what? This is the real killer. Out of all this that's going on, we still saw. Did y'all see the one where Mayor Lightfoot showed the picture where the police was driving in the van?
Yeah, I seen it.
And he did this.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen it. Are you serious?
They caught. I mean,
Yeah, they
like,
were angry.
F you. Now, first
They
of
were
all,
ready.
let me just say this. Did you all hear Lori Lightfoot, God bless her heart, when she
she should have said it.
intellectually cussed number 45?
That's right.
She said the first letter begins with F and the second word is U.
You gotta
I'm
love
like, Lori,
to
you
be
can come to
said.
my church and preach that
it.
anytime.
It needed to be said.
You can preach. Oh, I'm sorry, we ain't supposed to be touching. Anyway, I'm like, you can come to my church and preach to 45 anytime. But not only that, did you all see, this is all going on Sunday. They dragged this black girl out of her car.
They did that a few times
Yeah.
in Atlanta.
6 cops.
2 people. Yeah.
They tased her.
Dragged her. For
They've
no-
now been charged, right?
Yeah,
Or
they
at least arrested.
They've been.
Something.
Say that. Say
You
that.
know, I mean, so this shows you, then I'm gonna get to you, Brandon. This shows you that this is their heart condition.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
It's
It is.
in
I like
the
Hatred.
Heart, yeah,
core
heart condition.
of their heart.
Absolutely.
I mean, and this is the real killer. They know cameras are everywhere. I know, and see, he did this, what he really did. And how do you not think somebody's not? I don't have my phone with me. That's all they do out there. Have their phone.
Well, they don't care. They don't
And
care.
they're taping
They don't care.
Don't care.
And Mayor Lightfoot said, find him, strip him of his power, and fire him.
And that's what should happen to all of them.
You know, this is in the court, they hired, okay, Brandon, a very successful young man. For many years, Brandon actually lived downtown in the high rise. So this is what he was brought up on. He's an only child, and his mom, gave him a decent life. But how did that make you feel? See, I was brought up on 78th and Drexel. Where were you brought up at?
Lord, don't let
Okay. Hold on.
He said the South.
Willacoochee, Mississippi.
Let him alone. Let him alone.
In a small town in Ohio.
Okay, where were you brought up?
I was born in Cabrini.
Cabrini Green. Okay, so unlike all of us and him from Willacoochee, Mississippi, Brandon was actually brought up downtown. I mean, in one of the nice apartments, and I'm not, doing that, but how did that make you feel to see? Now, we knew my neighborhood, his neighborhood, his country, his neighborhood. How did that make you feel to see your neighborhood where you were brought up trashed?
There was a lot of different emotions. I want to go back to what you said first, though, when you said it's a heart issue
Speak
about
up,
the
right.
about the hatred. I also think it's a lot of fear, unfortunately.
Say that.
Over the years of, I don't know if their fear of blacks uprise. I don't know what it is, but there's a fear of black men, an innate fear. Like when you see videos of police walking up to black men in cars, guns already drawn for things like turn sick. It's just like, what's the purpose? So there's something deep down in there that there's hatred, but there's also, for some reason, a fear of each of us that sit up here and look like us. But to your point, right, a lot of emotions, very interesting, evoked sadness, one, when I saw my people having to uprise in such a violent way to be heard ever. And then two, I've never experienced overt racism. So for me, and I'm just being very transparent, and I've told friends this, I was never one that was like, yeah, because it had never touched me. So yeah, I've been in nice stores, I've been in different places, and sure, maybe were people looking at me in a different way, but did I ever know it? I did not. I've been the only black person in many white circles. So for me, it was just like, it's a little bit of complacency, but it really awakened a passion in me and caused me to rise up to remember that, so what, I may have never been stopped by a police officer, but my brothers and sisters, it's happening and they're being killed. How can I not be a part of the movement? So it pushes me to do more, and now I realize it could be me. I mean, like you said, putting down profession and what you've done and accomplished means nothing. They walk up to the car and they see me, they see black. And that has been a little bit difficult for me to understand, like, man, okay, wow, I am no different. I am the same as George Floyd. I am the same as every other Ahmaud Arbery who could be running in the wrong neighborhood or be perceived as dangerous and be gunned down with no bad intention. So it has really awakened me. I left my mom's house that Saturday, like you coming from your mother's house. I didn't want to go home yet, so I said, I'm just going to drive around. And I hadn't been watching as much of the news as I should. So I'm like, I'm going to drive down Michigan, and then I'm going to drive down Oak, because I like to buy nice things. So that's what I'm not going to buy. I want to look. And when I saw, I didn't, I was like, oh, the windows are actually busted out. There's a U-Haul run into a truck, so to a store. So it helped me to see, okay, this is like for real, when they start tearing up the neighborhoods that in people's minds matter. It just really made it more and more real for me. And there's this back and forth with, like you said, Daryl, with, can we find a better way? But I understand, because when you've marched and you've prayed and you've talked and you sat and you've done all these things and nobody listens and they continue to gun you down, what is left to do other than make a loud noise? And the only noise that you know to make is to break things and to show your anger outwardly. So,
and there was a lot of things going on. We have been locked up, like I said.
yeah, sure.
Because of the virus. So we were already dealing with the virus, but now we had to deal with the virus and the violence.
Correct.
All at one time. Now I'm getting ready to make a statement, and I'm not being racial, but I'm just being very true with this. And I just want to know your honest opinion. Brandon, I think you were too young to know about the march when they killed Martin Luther King and things like that. You might have not even been born or just born. So, but the rest of us know that. We've had marches and we've had violence and we've had looting down through the year, down through the year. So everybody's saying, you know, do it peacefully, do it quietly. And so people were so angry, they were saying Martin Luther King did peaceful marches and they killed him.
Correct.
You know, sometimes, y'all know, how many of us was brought up on whoopings?
Yes, definitely.
Whooping. All right, whooping. We wasn't.
Passed it down.
We wasn't, you know, spanked on the hand. I'm talking about whooping. I mean, wherever the belt land, your face, your leg, your arm, da 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 da. Anyway, so some people picture peaceful marches as time out in the corner. Black kids don't do good with time out. They don't understand time out. Making them go to a corner, you know, and be quiet. They don't do nothing for them. You know, they don't understand nothing but a good butt whooping. All right, now, this is my problem, okay? They don't want us to whoop them, but the police beat them and kill them.
Right.
Correct.
Oh, that's why they don't want us to whip.
They don't want us to whoop them, to discipline them, but the police beat them, kill them. Okay, this is my statement. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to make a statement to your point, and I don't know if anybody watched George Floyd's funeral with Al Sharpton?
Yeah.
And he made a comment to piggyback off what you just said, that, what was his comment? We try to call for peace, or he said there's a difference between peace and quiet. So we try to do peaceful marches and protests, but that's not what they want us to do. They actually want us to be quiet. Because then if you're quiet, you don't, you say nothing.
And let it go.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, sorry, go ahead. I just think that there needs to be a balance, and I'll scream this all day until things change. A lot of this is because of a lack of leadership, and I think that many years ago you had Malcolm, Martin, Medgar Evers, different people who maybe they did things a little differently, but they had the same goal. Now we have multiple organizations doing different things, and I don't think a ton of them are aligned. And then you have folks that want to fight and they're angry, but if they're not under leadership, well, I think the best way is to break a window. Okay, so I'm going to break this one, I'm going to bring 10 people, we're going to burn it. So everybody's going everywhere, and then we end it, and my question is, now what? So now every building's burned down, every store broke into, so now what do we do? It has to be a strategic plan to show anger. And I personally think it's dollars and cents, it's stocks, it's pulling our business from places that are racist, have racist views, and you have to do it strategically, because physical is only going to go so far. They're going to continue to say, well, see, that's what we said. Not that we're looking to please them. That's what we knew they would do. And then you're burning your own neighborhood.
Yes.
So our seniors don't have places to go get medicine, so then we help the healthcare disparity. We got to attack it in a different way, and there needs to be one team, maybe with 10 people from different sects, coming together to organize. It's not going to work with 10 different paths. So yes, let's make a lot of noise continually. Let's do it strategically so we can actually see it work.
Because in the heat of the moment, they're not thinking. But to
course
your
not.
point, now after you see the aftermath
Correct.
and the effect that it has, now we just hurt our own communities. And some stores may not even open back up.
Many won't, because if they didn't have insurance,
Yeah.
which is a whole systemic thing, because if you don't have enough black businesses and you don't have people to support those businesses, can they afford insurance? Can they afford to stay open? No. So we, within our own communities, not to separate, but to an extent, like they say, what Black Lives Matters. We know all lives matter, but right now, black lives need the focus. We're being killed. So black businesses need the focus. We need to focus in our own communities to build ourselves up. We know that, unfortunately, until recently, other corporations are not going to help us.
Okay, and Brandon, that is so true, and I truly concur with you. But where do most of us, with our black businesses, get our money from?
So we need to find some black banks.
Y'all didn't answer my question.
Can you repeat your question? Where do we get our money from?
Where do most of us with black-owned businesses get our money from?
Which is it? We need our own stuff.
But y'all still ain't answer. I want them to hear it. Where do we get our money from?
We get them from white banks.
The white
which are run
bank.
by,
Which, hold on,
with
which
no black representation.
it is still a form of slavery.
Oh, of
Agreed. I think that's the point. Everybody now is just saying, okay, yeah, it's not enough to say we matter. Like, put us in some positions so that we can now begin to turn this thing. Because end of day, if reparations never happens, and it's a far stretch,
Probably won't.
it probably will not. Unfortunately, we far behind. So we need somebody to kind of help push us up, and it's gonna be our non-black brothers and sisters because they're in power. So it's gonna take us a while to scratch to get up
But
there.
what if in some instances, it kind of sounds like it's also a money issue. Because like you just said about the money. And
money
the money,
means power.
Right, money
Correct.
is power. But truth be told, the money is actually in our pockets. There is some money in
course.
black pockets.
Where do we spend it is the question.
To piggyback exactly
the problem.
what Brandon said, it's the non-trust amongst our people. We have so many views on the same topic, which we can't come to an agreement on that one topic because we're too busy arguing with each other.
Correct.
Everybody has a view. When we all sit at a table, just hear me out real quick. If you sit 10 powerful black men with money at a table, every last one of those black men are going to exercise their ego.
There you go.
Every last one of them.
There you go.
Not recognizing the fact that all of you are actually in a position to help those who aren't in the position.
If they align.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Look, I had to do that to him. I had to do that to him. It's just that, but seriously though, like if you really think about it, like if you really sit 10 men with power, with money, there's no way.
But see, you said the key word ego because we have some black billionaires.
Yes, there's money
We have
in
some
our
black,
community. There's money there.
Billionaires that's on their way to be trillionaires, but we don't come back and genuinely invest in our people and our community without our egos uprising.
True. But I also finish. I apologize.
You know, this is so true. I can't get away from the thought. None of this is genetic. All of this has been taught.
That's true.
Yeah.
100%.
We were taught to hate ourselves. We were taught to hate each other. When you think about the rioting, and I'm not for rioting.
Of course.
I'm not condoning it, but you want us to be real, right?
Say that.
Everything white people got, they took it from the ones that had it.
True.
And they did it with violence. They took this country, everything they have, they took it violently from the people that got it. But we are the thugs. We are the criminals.
It's laughable. Yeah.
Hold on. But just the part you're leaving out of that.
Ain't it?
Just the part you're leaving out of that. Did you all ever look at, I don't know if it was Ruth or Amistad, when they first got off the boat? Was it Ruth or Amistad? Amistad. They used us against us to help them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So in some cases, we're at fault because this is sad, but if you put the right dollar sign in front of not all black people, but some, they'll sell out. But this is the point I want to bring out. Looting is wrong. Y'all agree looting is wrong? Y'all agree looting is wrong?
Yes.
Of course.
Y'all agree violence is wrong?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so when I was talking about this back from Martin Luther King days, if you think about this, what is the root of all this looting, violence, anger, and murder? What is the root?
And see, I would quote Reverend Sharpton from his message the other day, and this is, again, quoting him. The root is that for hundreds of years, the white man has always had their neck or their knee on our neck. So I think it's always because the noose that they've had around us from a socioeconomic standpoint, for healthcare, schools, finance, poverty, all those things combined. And do we as a race add to it? Yeah. You know, it's not always one-sided. So there are some things, but at the root, I think it's just how the white man or the race has portrayed us, how they fear us or look at us, and all those things from a socio-economical standpoint has always, from the time we came over here, put us as a second-class citizen.
And it's not that black people are not intelligent and black people, don't have class and they don't have intellect. The root behind all anger, all looting, all violence, all murder, when it comes to these violent things, is something that a white man did to us.
And I still go back to this is not genetic. This is taught. This is learned behavior.
Thank you.
Even when you think of the gangs, we think black people learned about gangs because white people started them.
Intellectual gang, intellectual mobs.
That's right. So all of this stuff that we are facing, we are imitating, if you will, duplicating stuff we saw them do. They took everything, so we feel like, well, if you're gonna get something, you got to take it.
True.
But
I do have.
Go ahead then. But on your note, it's not just learned for black people. The white young boys learn it from their daddies.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course.
Generations,
It's taught behavior.
They learn it.
behavior.
Absolutely.
And so when I say, if you think about it, when we get to these right and all of it's wrong, it's always something that a white man, be it a police, be it whatever, have done to somebody in the black race that caused the black race to go havoc.
Agreed.
Always something that they did. When have you ever noticed a white riot because of something a black man did?
Well, we're not empowered. I mean, we're not in the power to do anything that, makes people to move anything. Unfortunately. They would not happen.
But you know what, Brandon? The truth is, if that was to happen, they would be just as violent as we were. If it was,
They wouldn't have to be. That's the problem.
But you're missing. I know they don't have to be, and I know that. I'm just saying, if it was different, where the black police were doing something to white people, and they're rioting, and they started right, they do the same thing we're doing. It will never happen. And you ain't never.
They would just throw him in jail.
Right.
Cop or not black. I mean, it would be so fast.
Yeah.
We don't get the same judgment.
Speak in your mic. Go ahead.
Sorry, we don't get the same
say something.
justice. I was just saying with the whole rioting, I think that, not to scream leadership, it puts our cause back, because then we have to continue to discuss it's just like, okay, if we had leadership, the ones rioting would understand, hey, not helping the strategy, but when you have, with any culture, with any movement, you're going to have some that do it for selfish gain, and you're going to have some that do it for the cause. I think there was a lot of people that did it for the cause. There was a few that did it because I want some free stuff. Mm-hmm. That's just, and I'm not being devil's advocate.
But you know what?
But I'm not saying it's right. It's just like, why are you, you don't even need, why are you doing that? You're hurting us. And then unfortunately you have, which I didn't even know about, other factors sending other white people in to incite. I was just like, I didn't even think. So it's like there's so much to fight against. We have to be so tight with what we're doing because you got outside forces fighting against us to make sure that what we're doing doesn't work. So I just think we all have to be so aligned in making sure that, okay, whatever we're going to do, it better be real tight because they're already in power. So we got to be real strategic with what we do.
You know what? I like that. It's funny. Me and my wife were talking last night, and we were discussing things that people might consider conspiracy. But if you really pay attention to it and use your intelligent mind, like he was just saying, your cause, you can't relate a 16, 17-year-old young black man can never tell me that his reason, I'm serious, for running into that store would be the same anger if to someone my age, the Bishop age. You understand what I'm saying? It's your cause, your purpose. And it's funny, me and my wife, we was talking this, like I said, the conspiracy theory. I rode past an ATM. I went to the ATM. Now, this is the intelligent mind thinking, but conspiracy at the same time, which some might call it. the entire guts of the ATM was ripped out. Now, I think I'm a pretty strong individual. Can't do it without the proper tools. Just like the white man that had the umbrella, the cop that walked up, bashed out the window. You got to think, to continue to keep people in their houses, to try to control the situation, or to aggravate people to say that this is what they're still doing. We're still acting out. The rioting has slowed down, but people are still going by, busting out windows, ripping the guts out of ATMs. Man, let me tell you something. Strategically, it takes a lot of a good equipment to get that equipment out that I've seen how it was taken out professionally, and the time that that you consume actually doing that.
So it's not as
Not worried about somebody seeing you.
It's not as easy as
You had help.
Anthony Anderson did it in barbershop when he was still in the
I don't think he was successful. Was he successful? Did it work?
Did it
I don't know if it worked.
Come on, I'm serious. Like, if you really think about how much of this is strategically being put together to continue to give them a reason to pull us over, snatch us out our cars, tase us, give them a reason to pull up in front of businesses and say, you can't come in here right now. You understand what I'm saying? And businesses being okay with that, giving a curfew. You understand what I'm saying? It keeps it going. This whole pandemic has been a good way to get to exercise control, because technically we are seen as the animal. Technically we are seen as the beast. Technically we are seen as the loud, angry black man. I'm loud as you know what. Everybody knows that about me. I'm a loud person, and that's one of the reasons why our voices are coming with so much force and so much anger now, because you've been told for so many years, shut up, be quiet, boy, do this, move, walk, sit, get over there. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like a person
It
that's
sounds like something that our wives do too.
I was just about to say that. I'm gonna let you say it. Thank you for saying it for me.
Colette.
Thank you for saying it for me. I'm serious though. To think of a person that can't speak, mute. When they're trying to get their point across, their sign language becomes more animated. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're frustrated. You understand what I'm saying? A black person that feels like they've never been hurt, and then you have to sit in the house and it's an explosion. Our best way, that was a mute reaction. Physical, tearing stuff up. I can't say anything. No one's listening to me. I can't breathe.
And I can't get in the corner and do timeout.
Yeah, can't do it.
Can't do that.
Can't do it.
Because that's what, okay, I appreciate all of you. I think we have a great dialogue here, but I want to ask this question. Daryl, are you saved? Are you a Christian?
Yes.
Okay, are you saved, Willie? I have questions. I'll accept it on faith experience.
Holy Ghost.
Brandon, are you saved?
Yes, I am.
Are you saved?
Yes, sir.
Raymond, and I'm saved. According to our Christian faith, we are supposed to forgive. Let's
Correct.
talk about it now. None of us in here can deny that some point of anger did not overwhelm us. You know, regardless to whatever the anger was about. And Willis made a statement, sometimes he had challenges with white people. We don't know his whole experience, and he may have a reason for that, you know, especially being brought up in the South. How are we going to deal with Matthew 11 and 24, and when you pray, forgive? And if you don't forgive your Father which is in heaven, the whole church got quiet. And if you don't forgive, come on, let's just talk about it. Your heavenly Father which is in heaven won't forgive you. Come on, somebody.
Well, I guess I have a question to clarify. When you say forgive, like we talking about forgiving the race of white people, we talking about forgiving cops that kill black people. Like, what would you?
It's just forgiveness, period,
Okay.
Brandon. Because if we forgive the white cop, then we got to still deal with the white people, the race of people. If we forgive the race of people, then we still got to deal with the white cop.
Right.
No.
I mean, I think you.
Hold up. Before you say, let me make a disclaimer. All white people are not bad.
Not at all.
All white cops are not bad.
Not at all.
And that's the truth, because, some of us have greater favor. But I'm talking about how are we going to forgive this, hold on, this recent anger.
No, and you're
As
right.
recent as last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
How are we going to forgive this recent anger? Go ahead.
I can see they have other, but I'm just going to say a simple question because you are
Teach us,
100%.
Jesus, teach us.
You are 100%. You are 100% correct. What would Jesus do? Yes, he would forgive. So I think the Christian and spiritual side, and even the Floyd's family, yes, I'm sure people are saying, hey, you have to forgive. I don't know what time frame that would be, but yes, you should forgive. But then in the back of your mind, the thing is you would just never forget. So I know sometimes, and even we talk about that in church, then that could make you bitter. So you still keep going all along thinking, oh, I forgave him. But then as soon as you see that person or that certain individual, you just, oh, man. So then did you really forgive? But you forgive, but you won't forget. And then I think that makes you more conscious of things in your surroundings and of different, situations you may be in.
That's a good point. I want to address it in a minute, Brandon.
So I think it's like multi-layered. So yes, forgiveness is there, and it has to be done. I think it can be done. I think it takes prayer, though, like faith.
Yeah.
I have faith to forgive. Now your action that goes with that, or your works, is going to be continuing to praying it through until it's out. Now, 6 months you may look at the person and still think, "Ooh, I can't stand," and it's fine. Like we're all imperfect. We're all human beings, so you're not going to get it right all the time. But it's your job then, as a Christian, if you say you're a Christian, you got to keep going at it and asking God to help you until you get past it. And I know him being the father that he's been, you'll get past it. Like to your point, how long that'll take, we don't know. From a racial standpoint, I don't think any of us, I know you had a different experience. I don't have any hatred in my heart for white people. I don't. I think like any other group of people, there's bad of everybody.
Yes.
So I think we need to search our hearts to make sure that you don't have anything in there. If you do, for a whole race of people, God help me with my past and so forth and so on. And then you deal with how do you get past it and bring change. Because you can forgive and that's fine, but what are we going to do to make sure that I don't have to continually be in this place of forgiveness toward you and toward you?
Right.
You have to at some point shift that situation. If you do something to me and I forgive you, I'm probably not going to place myself in that same situation to be hurt again. Love you, forgave you, but am I about to now then kneel down and then get shot again? I'm not. So then we need to change the system so I don't have to be in that.
That's the question, is it true forgiveness?
It is. My God, yeah, but why would I continue to subject myself if I see that eating bad food makes me heavy and obese and it gives me diabetes? Would I continue to do the same thing and give myself a bad result? Not at all. So I can love you, but I may never lend you money again because it's not a good dynamic.
Answer this question, Brandon. Have God ever forgiven you for any type of damnable thing?
Of course.
Okay. Did you ever do it again?
Of course.
Okay. And did you ever do it again?
Of course.
Okay.
Not intentionally.
It don't matter. You did it. My point is, so why should he let his mercy kneel down and before your feet in his grace embrace you when you're going to hurt him again? See, we have to really think about it. Let me come back to Dale's statement. I will forgive, but I won't forget. We are human, and I'm not denying that. You all remember Joseph in the Bible, and Joseph was sold by his brothers and everything like that. And Joseph had two sons. One was named Manasseh, and the other one named Ephraim. And his sons their names had meaning. And Joseph was human, and he was hurt by what his own brothers did to him. Do you know what Manasseh meant? It means, Lord, cause me to forget what they did to me. Now, let me just tell you this, and in all honesty, and we're having good dialogue here, when you're intentional, as you say, about getting over something, about releasing, about letting it go, about really forgiving them, there can come a time, because it's happened in my own life, that you can remember something that somebody did, it don't even face you no more.
I believe that.
I remember specifically what you did, but it don't faze me no more. So the thing is, we have to pray that God take away the pain of memory. The pain of memory. Because we're human, we're always going to remember.
Yeah.
Now, this is the way, and I'm not trying to be so super spiritual, but if I forgive you, and you broke into my house and you took something out, you're my son. If I forgive you, I can't say, well, I forgive you, but you can't come into my house no more.
Well, we can change some rules.
I really think that's not exercising full forgiveness if you set a barrier because that person did wrong.
You just said a word that I'm going to get to, barrier. Brandon, I forgive you. You were wrong for what you did to me. I treated you better than that. I did not deserve what you did to me. You can come to my house, but I have to be honest with you. There are barriers. You are only allowed in the living room and when we eat at the dining room table.
It's up to you to eat if you really want to come now, because there are barriers.
I'm gonna have to agree.
But see, but you, and I'm being honest with you. You hurt me.
Right. I think that's
You
fair.
robbed me, but you're my son. The prodigal son. He came back, and the dad, they give him the best road. See, now, I mean, if we don't really deal with issues, and I'm not, and please don't take this as if I'm saying, y'all remember Bewitched, you just twinkle a nose and it was gone. No, I'm not saying you twinkle your nose and it's gone. But if you're my son, if you're my brother, if you're my nephew and you all wrong me, and I invite everybody to my house for a supper but you, because of what you did to me, I will invite you back, but there are stipulations and there are boundaries. And I'm going to be honest with you. I got cameras all over the place. We watch.
It's about the delivery, though. I have cameras. You ain't got to know.
I'm just going to be honest with you. But you're my family, and if I invite everybody else, and as he said, what would Jesus do? If he invite everybody else to come back, and not you because of what you did.
But can I ask this question? But also Jesus disrupted things and he changed things. So I think at some point I can forgive, but we do not have to continue to go along this path of abuse and so forth. Like there has to be, and I'm not saying I'm right. That's just a tension that's there. It's like, okay, so how long do we, you're going to shoot, okay, shoot him one more, shoot one more. It's like at some point you have to.
But Brandon, I did change things. I made stipulations. There are guidelines when you walk in my house. You're being watched. I'm just gonna be honest.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
so,
sir,
as long as
but
we can do that, I'm fine with that. Like I forgive you, but we're gonna get on a new path here.
But what about, okay, play the role of Jesus right now. We're dealing with the masses. His reach is longer than mine. It's mightier than mine. What we're discussing right now, that's a personal forgiveness because that was a personal attack. If my son came into my house and stole something, this is the only person that I have to either worry about forgiving, forgetting, getting over, or anything. When you're dealing with the masses, you understand what I'm saying? I think that there's a lot of thought that goes into that because you have to weed out the who you don't knows. Like Brandon was saying, how I would be lying if I sat here to everyone, even to myself, which is most important, if I said I hated all white people. I don't know all white people. Do I have some white friends? Yes.
Yeah.
I most certainly do. I grew up on the north side of Chicago. I went to a diverse school, to two diverse schools. My children were raised in that atmosphere. They weren't raised in an area where all they seen was black and whatnot. You understand what I'm saying? Even being born in the projects in Cabrini, we're surrounded by downtown.
Sure.
We fought tooth and nail to get out on Chestnut and Michigan and whatnot, and we were seen like we didn't belong, looked at like we didn't belong, but yet and still I had the opportunity to do so. So if I see a white person that I don't know in passing, will I just haul off and hit him? No, because I don't hate him because I don't know him. He's not wronged me.
Right.
I think that personal wrong is when it's the true testament to forgiveness. But in the masses, you can hide your forgiveness.
That's true.
And mask it even better because of those you don't know. And it's easier to forgive the ignorant. Because if you're doing something just out of what you were taught and you don't know me, I can't really be upset with you. I'm more upset of where you were taught. Who taught it to you to hate me because my skin is this color?
Right.
You don't even know me.
Right.
How dare you? But I'm going to forgive you because you're ignorant.
It's ignorance, yeah.
Right.
And it's bliss. It really is. Ignorance is bliss.
Until you
Because
make
now I'm
them,
going to teach you about me.
exactly, and you're gonna listen. Because I was gonna say, to your point, it's been a little sort of refreshing that I've gotten to talk to a few people that are non-black that have like, well, all lives matter. So I'm like, okay, so let's just have a conversation, and you have to explain.
Literally do.
But there are certain people that are willing to understand, and there are certain people that want to stay ignorant because they either feel guilty or they don't want to embrace it. And you're always going to have those people, but there are people out there, to your point, that want to listen, and that's going to be part of the forgiveness. I'm going to forgive, but I also want to teach you and help you understand what this is all about, how I feel on a daily basis versus how you feel, because a lot of people don't know. They don't get it.
And
That's God's work.
And can I just tell you this honestly? They'll never understand because they're not black.
Correct.
That's true.
All we can do is help. All we can do is tell about the
That-
experience.
But let me just say this. I thank you all. I think we've had great dialogue on today. Let me just say this. Again, all white people are not wrong. If you look at some of the tape from Martin Luther King's march, you'll see white people in there.
Yeah.
You see white women in there. I'm going to just tell you all this. For me looking at, God help him, I'm going to just tell you all this. For me looking at some of the movies, I'm going to just tell you all this. Looking at some of the movies, if you all go back and look at Ruth and Amistad, God used some of the white women
Agreed? Yeah.
to have more compassion to try to get to their white, angry
Husbands and
husbands.
fathers, yeah.
That's because they was after the black men.
Oh, God, here we go.
It's all a conspiracy, isn't it?
Conspiracy. Come on with it.
He is not cracking the smile.
Serious.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay, let me just say something. His name is Willis Collins, and he lived on 118 South Indiana.
I love it.
Don't get me mixed
If anything go down, it was not me. It was not.
But listen, listen, my whole thing, and Brandon, to your point, to just be honest with, we're only responsible for our heart. What's in our heart when it comes to forgiveness, when it comes down to forgetting, we just have to be intentional. God, make our heart clean. And because this is not going nowhere, this is a continual prayer.
Every day.
This is a continual. So, in our conclusion, did you all enjoy yourself?
Yes,
today?
yes,
Most
yes,
definitely.
thank you.
Thank you all so much. I think all of you had valid
more and
points.
more and more.
But in our conclusion, what could we say to get us through the rest of this? I'm not just talking about George Floyd or Breonna from Texas or Ahmaud Arbery. What can the truth of the matter is racism is never going anywhere.
Right.
As long as human beings are on the earth, correct?
Yeah.
It was all in the Bible. It's not going anywhere. So what can we do, real briefly, what idea do you have to think that we could do to get through the rest of this terror?
I think, and it's something you've always preached in church services, as far as you have to deal with yourself. So yes, there's social, economical, so we won't get into all that, education, poverty, school. So all those are root causes of racism. But I think until we can deal with each individual and somehow, and I have an acronym PMH. So until we can change not just white races or just all races, until we could change the perception that people have towards blacks, till we can change their mindset, because perception is your understanding of what you think about Ray. I think Ray, man, just how he looks is gonna probably commit a crime or beat me up or attack me if I'm on the street. So if I can change his if we could change people's perception, their mindset is your attitudes that you already have towards someone. So getting back to Bishop's point, that when kids grow up, they're taught certain things because they see their parents. So if we could change their mindsets or their attitudes, how they feel about blacks. And then most importantly, and I think we all saw the world leader hold up a Bible, and then everybody was saying how, okay, but he's holding it up, but his heart isn't in it. So I think until we can change people's perception, mindset, and their heart, which is their feelings, then I think that will help. To your point, racism will never go away, but then I think that will help. And we saw some of that because, to your point, white people have been involved with the riots and been right alongside. So I think that's already a start. And then even Al Sharpton said in his ceremony that even like in places like Germany, you saw white people protesting. So there are good, just like good and bad anywhere, or every race and color, it doesn't matter. But I think that's a start, that people are realizing that, okay, maybe we need to change our perception and mindset in our
And
heart.
one thing that we didn't mention today, this wasn't only between black and white, it tipped off something between black and Latinos.
Heard about that too, yeah. Yep.
You know, this thing just really went haywire, you know, but you said until we teach them about the what?
Perception,
Perception,
mindset,
and
and
the
their heart.
heart. I think they have to want to learn about perception, mindset, and heart. Because we've been telling them about this stuff all the time. So if they don't have an eagerness to learn it, there's nothing we can do. Your final words, Willie?
Real quickly, my view is I think I don't even know what can we really do, because it is embedded in whites that they are better, that they are superior.
Some white.
And it's embedded in whites.
Remember the address.
Well, no, there's many.
Okay.
Because the children were taught by the parents, and it's in them whether they show it or not. Now, I want to say God, being saved, the word, I want to say that'll make the difference. But I know some racist preachers that's speaking in tongues, preaching the word,
And some of them in
got
the White
big
House.
churches
Yes.
and all of that. I heard, anyway. So,
And they, hold on.
Come on with it,
I'm
man.
going to do a Lightfoot. And her first name began with P, and her last name is White.
and that ain't the only one. I heard another. This was a famous.
Don't leave that alone.
You know, famous, well-known minister. If I call his name, everybody know White. He got up and he said he's giving us the solution of what we need to do. Now you talking about something that ticks me. A white person that tell a black person what they need to do. Anyway, so he said, what
Calm him down,
we need
Jesus.
he said we need to go back to when slavery, when the blacks sung Amazing Grace, and they sung and God brought them out.
Really?
I wondered, no, what you need to do is repent. That's what white people need to do, is repent for what they did, but they don't, because they don't think they did nothing wrong.
Some.
So, whoa.
Okay.
All of them.
Some.
The other ones were talk. I guarantee you, all of your, and I know some too.
Yes.
I don't have no white friends.
Okay.
I know some
I'm
white
gonna
people.
get you one. I think that might help.
No.
Real
But
nice.
I guarantee you, if push come to shove, that this is me.
Okay.
If push come to shove, you're gonna be in their eyes.
So I don't think that's across the board. I said I don't like all black people.
You ain't
all
ticked
white
them
people.
off yet.
Okay, but he said,
But I
push-
know people that have that. I know people that have that. If you ever
Okay.
marry a white woman,
Brandon,
at some point she get
Brandon.
mad, she make it's like
Brandon, but you're not going to like what I'm getting ready to say, but it might be true. They always accept one or two tokens.
I still believe in the token. Negro.
They always
It exists.
accept one or two
I can
tokens.
name some.
But his,
Yeah,
but his,
that's a given.
Hold on.
Right.
But his statement was, if push come to shove,
Push come to shove. That's what
if push come to shove, if something happened where you all, became anguish or violent or da, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be called.
the stereotype will definitely take
And that's not with
precedence in their
everybody.
mind. That's not with everybody.
Yeah,
I-
it's not with
I-
everybody, and I
it's
guess I just want to make sure that I don't want to have that mindset only, because that's gonna then, which is all this brings it up. It jades your
gonna cut you
perception of all, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just a hard place to be, especially when you're in an environment with many. You hate to live like that, and even if it's true, it's like, man, maybe, and it could just be me still embracing the fact that is
Don't take
reality.
that. Don't take
It's
that
just a
personal.
sad reality
It
that I
is.
hate to embrace, but it could very well be the case.
But I agree with him when he
Okay.
says if he takes that mental, thought on what's already established with him, who he is, who I am, who you are. That's kind of like trying to learn how to walk again. You understand what I'm saying? You don't want to shut off who you are because of what the reality may be of what somebody is thinking. Because again, that takes me back to, it's a thought. Do you really know the person? I know me. You understand what I'm saying? We can relate. We black. It's easier to relate, even though in some situations we find it hard to, even with our own people.
Sure.
You understand what
And I would say,
Absolutely.
And see,
Absolutely.
sometimes we betray each other, and I can say, I thought we was boys.
boys. Oh, that's the quickest.
and I can say to Apostle, like I agree with Brandon, because, and I think from a standpoint about white people, yeah, I don't believe all white people are bad, and I give them the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, because the main is primarily because, again, our upbringing. So I grew up with predominantly white, went to white high school, college. My jobs are, if you would say, the token black. So there's only 1 or 2 out of the whole company. So I think from the mindset of that, my coworkers and peers, I have to be able to relate to them and hopefully give them the benefit of the doubt. But at that same breath, I do.
Way in the back of your mind.
Yep, I do.
It's a possibility.
Because I have to agree with you to an extent, because even when I travel or go somewhere, yes, I'm treated or looked at differently. So I'm always conscious of the fact when you say, do black men face racism, I would say yes.
Absolutely,
because,
yes.
and it may not be blatant like Brandon said, he had never experienced it, but I experienced it all the time, because I would be that only black there. Walk into a restaurant and people turn
Question
and
remains,
look at you.
do you really belong here? Why are you?
Yeah,
What did you do to get here?
This
or
is
for
our
whatever,
neighborhood.
or for whatever
really do to get
reason,
here?
I get the worst service than anybody at the table. So then you sit there and think, well, why was my order messed up and theirs weren't messed up? So I try not to Brandon's point, look at it with a shaded or view of things, but I get what you're saying, because deep down in the back of my mind, if push come to shove, I would hope some would have my back, but at the same time, because I grew up being called the N-word, I understand that probably won't happen. The likelihood of them having my back
I like that.
may be slim.
And to your point, what I think is true for all 4 of you, that's not true for me. When you say like you grew up like that, I just didn't.
Okay.
So it's like,
And you
for
can only
me-
speak from your experience.
Right, so it's like, it's probably very true. It's like, well, I just never had that. So it's like, man, okay, again, it could be very well reality. Just never.
You're
tried,
you're
but-
black, but don't be deceived.
No, but that's
Yes.
what actually has woken me up to, like, you've been blessed not to have ever been stopped in that way, but don't be deceived and think that you won't.
Right.
So, I mean, definitely awake, yeah, like, it definitely woke me up, for
And
sure.
see, and we gotta stop. This has been.
But
an
I'd like to say my
extensive
last
urge.
little part.
I'm gonna let you go do it. This is the thing that I thought about last Sunday. I know you were the target because you're in your 30s. I know you're the target because you're in your 40s. I know you're the target because you're in your 50s.
I'm in my 20s.
Hold on,
All
Fury.
liars.
It's what
All
you said.
liars.
It's what you said. It's what you said.
All
He's
liars.
15, and that's that.
Lord, God save Willis Collins.
I want to be back in my teens.
No.
days.
But seriously, this was the first time, and I am in my early 60s, this was the first time I felt the probability of even me. I thought, since I was much older, I'm not a
Thought you were
target.
free. Yeah, no.
This was the first time that I really felt, wow. You know, because you figure, as some especially when people saying yes, sir, and no, sir, to you, you figure they respect, you know, but
You with a Billy
I,
Club
I
star.
realized for the first time in my life that even at my age, I'm yet a target. Hold on, and would be a target to the day I die. Go to your
Sad
last
but
point.
true.
Yes.
I mean, I think what you were saying, what can be said, what can get us further, I think it's like you said, 100 things. Systemic racism is at the root of it. But black people need to take their power back, our power back. So again, black businesses, our communities, education, leadership, rising up as a group, not as all these sects. That's one. And then two, we do need, and this is I'll say to any white person that I know, we need their support. It's not enough to say, I agree on, it's so bad. Well, what are you doing with it? I think the time is over for it's so bad, I sympathize. Who is technically in power in some aspect or another, what are you willing to do and say to now move us forward? Are you willing to join on the front lines hand in hand with us? That's how you kind of know who's with you and who's not with you. I think silence is agreement. And if you say nothing, that means technically you're making a choice. Exactly. You're saying more than you could have ever said a word. You agree. You don't want to say it that way. To some extent, you're okay with what goes on because it's not necessarily affecting you and your mother. So I think those are two key things that we have to do.
And that's very true, but then you have to realize, say I'm a white man and I really love you, you know, but I'm next in line to a $500 million fortune from my daddy.
Be strategic. Help on the back end, get that money, and then help the black movement.
No.
I know what you mean.
No,
You
but
can't say anything.
If I get, and I'm really for you. I really love you genuinely from my heart. But if I'm seen holding your hand,
How deep is the
there
love,
goes
then?
my future. So you have to look at stuff like that.
I do, but I think also it comes to then what's your priority? Same with these billion-dollar companies that we pour money into. I won't be supporting any of the ones. I'm gonna do my best to make sure I watch it. If you're not saying anything, then I probably won't be going in your online stores and so forth, because that's me then supporting you saying that I don't mean as much. So, to your point, how much do you really love me? I mean, do you love? I mean,
But see,
or you love that money?
hold on.
I'm just saying, it's just reality.
But Brandon, I'm married and I have 4 children.
Sure.
I'm a white man married and 4 children.
That's
I
fine.
love you, but I want my kids to go to the best schools too, Ivy League schools
And
too.
they will.
No, but if I'm seen by my daddy, holding your hand in the mark, there go my and my family's future.
I agree. I mean, no matter how big or small, it's about
catch-22.
priority.
It's like I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't.
And it's a shame.
Right.
You know, your last words, what can we do to move on? As y'all can see, this is an extended version, but we've had some really good dialogue here.
In closing, for me, to the world, how you doing? My real name is Ramon Mims. I am a black man. If you do not know me, ask me about me, and that's the best way to understand me. Because the only information, the only know that you'll know about me is to know me. Ask me and I'll tell you. Don't hate me if you don't know me.
Right, because if you hate me, I'll show you.
I will show you. No, seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the truth. Like, you know, don't allow your ignorance to play a major part in what might end up being a good relationship.
Right.
Because when it's all said and done, none of us really want to be out here expressing just hate, because that isn't that isn't God's work, and I have to say that. And you need Jesus. Y'all, boy, you hateful people, y'all need prayer. There's something wrong with you. That's just I'm serious. It's in your soul.
His name is
You got an
Ramon
issue.
Man. He live 122nd in Inglewood.
It's something wrong. It's in your spirit. Like, pray on it.
And his cash app is offering.
We'll put it at the bottom.
Something wrong with the people.
Listen. Oh my. Yeah. Oh God.
I'm not going to do it this time.
Oh, boy.
I just want to say this.
Here comes the cannon.
For everybody that I'm sorry. I don't hate white people. I don't hate anyone. My prayer every day is, God, help me to forgive. Help me to get over whatever's going on. And I cover my mind and my emotions in the blood of Jesus all the time so that my emotions won't be hurt forever. And I do that that's my life.
That was
so
good.
I just want
hurt forever.
right.
That was good. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to clear that up. I don't hate them. I'm not ignorant. Amen. And I know if push come to shove, I know what side I'm going to be on, but nevertheless, I just want to.
And I would say hopefully everyone viewing this receives that message because we all are in agreement. We may have discussed things or said things, but at the end of the day, we're all Christian men. We believe in God.
I want peace and equality.
We want peace and equality. So hopefully that comes through as well.
Let me just say in my closing remark, I am so grateful. I mean, I never thought the dialogue would be this rich. I'm so grateful for Brandon and Ramon and Willis and Daryl and myself. We are black men targeted by racism, but we're also intellectual black men. We're also smart black men. We're also gifted and creative black men. We're also decent and respectful black men. And so we're not pinpointing or targeting or expressing hate. We are just giving our opinion, and we've been hurt. We've been abused. We've been knocked down, so to speak. So in my closing remark, I want to suggest 3 things that will help us to move on. Number 1, stand up for our rights respectfully.
Amen.
Stand up for our rights respectfully. Number 2, protest and march peacefully.
Amen.
Protest and march peacefully. And number 3, this one is going to really get you. Any of you guys ever played dodgeball before?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dodgeball, and when they throw the ball, they mean to hit you. And they throw the ball hard. So I want to say for my last thing, dodge the ball expeditiously.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Drop the mic, Bishop.
Just dodge the ball. When you dodge ball, sometimes you gotta move your body, you gotta duck, move out the way, So in closing again, stand up for our rights respectfully, protest and march peacefully, dodge the ball expeditiously. It has been my privilege to have this conversation with these 4 great, young, smart, intelligent African American men. We hope that you got something out of this conversation. No evil or no harm was meant to anybody. We just had to express matters from the heart. Thank you so much for joining us at a conversation with the McGhees. Be blessed.
Black. Black, black, black. Black on black, black. Yeah. Hey. Okay. Black, black, black. Black on black. Black, my thoughts so black, black, black.